Okay, I guess I'm going to do it then. Hello, welcome to Sci-Fi-vision Presents Fandom Access. This is part 2 of our show for November 19th, where we're going to be talking about this week's episode of From Revelations Chapter 1, followed by Season 2 premiere of Silo and the premiere of Dune. For anybody who is joining us who did not get the memo, Avery Conrad, who was supposed to be here tonight, who plays Sarah in From, she had to reschedule. So we apologize for that. But as soon as we get a date and time, I'll let everybody, know that on socials. But we're still going to go ahead with our normal show and talk about From for the next, I don't know, whatever, close, maybe an hour, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. But stick around with us and let us know what you think. And, we'll talk about what you want us to talk about, too, with the show. And thank you, Fletcher. We're glad you enjoyed the interview. And if you did miss Chloe's interview, you can restream it from the YouTube page, as well as all the other interviews there. So if you're watching us, please do take a minute to subscribe to my YouTube. Would appreciate it. And like I said, everything, if you missed anything, all of our other streams are still available after the fact. All right. Well, looks like I'm not sure if Karen is back yet. So
she's muted, so I don't know.
Hello.
How are you guys?
So what did you, since people heard me talk on Sunday a lot, why don't you guys go first? What did you think about the episode?
Let's start with Karen.
Okay.
I meant to watch it again today, and I had to do my real job, and I couldn't really.
This is your real job.
I couldn't really go back and rewatch it like I wanted to. It felt a little bit fillery to me. Like I would have liked to see a little more action in the penultimate episode. I mean, this episode seemed really to separate the characters and have them talking and resetting pieces. I mean, we had some, we have this big moment where Tabitha, when she hugs Victor, she sees these she sees something happen. I don't want to say what it is because we'll get into that, and it's so kind of controversial among the fandom what actually happened then. But I guess I was maybe hoping for a little more from this episode. I probably will get a lot of criticism from you guys, and particularly from people who are listening who think I'm crazy, because a lot of people feel that Miranda moment was like a defining moment for the series, and I'm just not so sure that I'm sold on that yet.
I don't know if I'd call it a defining moment. I feel like it was definitely interesting because I'm not sure what we're supposed to take from it yet. But I did have one thought when you texted me and Jamie. I thought, this isn't a bad thing, because 2 weeks ago you hated the episode. You said you wanted everybody to die, and then you loved last week's episode, and then you didn't like this week's episode, which means the finale is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I texted you and said that episode sucked immediately.
If it goes according to Karen's feelings, this week is going to blow it out of the water. Yeah. So that's a positive from all that. I get what you're saying about a fillery episode. It was definitely a setup episode, kind of moving the pieces around, getting everybody in place for the finale. It's funny. My feelings on Elgin changed about 3 times during the episode. So I think there's a lot. There's a lot that's happened. It's one of those things where it feels like nothing happened, but a lot happened type of episode. I mean, definitely more happened on From than the other 2 shows we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
There was. I mean, I guess let's just pick a person and follow their story through the episode, I guess.
That sounds good. Let me tell you guys though what I thought. I thought this was again one of the better episodes. I was kind of surprised, Karen, when you didn't like it, because a lot of people did. I get what you're saying about the whole Miranda thing, and I think it's good that that like you disagree, but not everybody should agree. I think that people should think different things. I don't think it 100% confirms anything, but I do think that's what it is. But I don't know that it, 100% confirms it. But I feel like there was a lot in this episode. I mean, we know now that Fatima's a lot further along in her pregnancy, which to me was kind of like, I don't know if that's exactly an answer, but it's moved, the story of her, her having a baby or whatever is moving fast now. And yeah, whether you think that what Tabitha saw was Miranda's, like a vision that Miranda sent her, or if she is Miranda, or if she is Eloise, or whatever you think, I still think it's kind of a big thing. And then everybody seemed to also really like the fact that Smiley came back and, thought that was a big deal. We all like him, and we know now they can run, which I already assumed they could. But some people were really, I guess, really surprised by the fact he ran, which is kind of funny in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked this episode. I liked the last episode too, though, and you didn't necessarily. So I don't know. But which storyline do we want to talk about first? Do it that way. You said you want to go by character. Who do you want to talk about first then?
Well, I mean, I guess we could talk a little bit about in the beginning of the episode what is happening with our friend Victor in the early part of the episode, maybe, right? Which kind of precedes some other stuff, but Victor is having a freak out.
Yeah,
this episode. I put that. See, they gave us the picture of the tambourine. People were commenting that was so funny. We threw the there's your tambourine. There's your tambourine there. Victor, he's very kind of upset about his inability to really get answers, and he's like, I've been saving all this stuff, and it really hasn't helped us. He throws it out the window. He is frightening everybody in the house. The colony gang is like, whoa, Victor, what's going on? I see Acosta. Is she reaching for her gun that we know is unloaded? But I guess it
might be like a normal reaction for a cop. I feel like
Where's a habit?
I guess
that's muscle movement. I wondered the same thing. I thought, is she just going to threaten him with this? Which wouldn't be a bad idea actually. If she went that route, we know it's not loaded, so. It's a scare tactic.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
Kenny had his hand on his gun too, though.
Right, but I can see them thinking he's a threat. I mean, especially her. She doesn't know Victor, but he does have an axe, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she doesn't know him. She doesn't know anyone. She's not,
Gothic Chica thinks too. It's natural instinct.
Yeah, whatever. So all that's happening with Victor, he's very upset. And then he also, in this episode, he visits with the boy in white. So, the other night, we were talking, a lot of people like, oh, that was so funny when Victor was having his freak out and throwing his stuff out the window. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's heartbreaking. The guy's having a total breakdown, that he's unable to, that he feels like he has failed.
Yeah, and that's why I said as soon as you find out why he's throwing it out, it is really heartbreaking. I just at first you don't know. You just see stuff flying out the window and aren't sure why. But yeah, I mean he feels like everything, I guess, that he's done, that he's kept, that's hurting people. And he doesn't want it around anymore. And he's kind of breaking. I mean, everybody's kind of breaking at this point. But I don't think previously he would have ever thought to go and try to cut down the tree. But I think the thing is, he feels, and why he's so upset, obviously, is because he feels responsible for his mother dying because he told her about the tree. And so I guess his way of dealing with that is trying to destroy the tree. I do want to talk, though, about the conversation that he has with the boy in white, because I think it's an important conversation, but some of it I was a little confused with why he said what he said. and I know people will, this is kind of repeated from what I said Sunday, but he makes this point of saying that he won't help them because Christopher screwed up and they have to find their own way, basically, is what he says. But Christopher not listening was like decades ago, and he's been helping them, and Tabitha did what he said. So I don't quite understand why he's like, I'm not helping you because of Christopher. That part was confusing to me. What did you guys think about that?
I mean, he's been helping them. He helped one person. He helped. I mean, and did he help? I mean, he guided
helped Tabitha get out.
He guided Tabitha. He appears to the boy in white and to Victor and speaks to him occasionally. But like he's been helping them, I think is a big leap to say that he's been helping them. If he'd been helping Victor, maybe he wouldn't be there for 40 years. Right?
I guess I'm just kind of like, why is he? I guess my point is, why is he saying that's why he's not helping? Because he seems to actively now be saying, I won't help you. Where whether he was helping or not before, he was saying he was going to help. Does that make more sense what I'm saying? Maybe that was a better description. But now he's like, no, because of what Christopher did, I won't help you. But this happened decades ago, and I'm only just mentioning it now. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Well, maybe Victor has never said, please help me until this moment.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I took it that Victor has been getting, or at least thinks he's been getting help from him all along the way he talks to him, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Gothic said he helped Sarah. He did help Sarah because he helped her get through the tree when she needed to. He told her and Boyd where to go or whatever at that one, at the whole, when they were in the webs and everything trying to get away. I think it was there, or maybe it was after, but whenever he sent them into the tree, I mean, he did at that point.
All right,
so I don't know. I just thought it was a weird comment. I'm not saying, he's helped everybody. I just think it was a strange thing to say.
I think that he, I mean, so
he's an enigma still.
I think this amount of time maybe isn't a long time for this boy, but I think he's saying, look, I tried to help you. I gave Christopher this information. You people screwed it up, and so I stopped helping you after that. And I can't help you people. You have to figure it out for yourself. You have to learn for yourself, I think is what that means. I don't think it's punitive, or I think he feels like these people have to learn for themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's what I think that meant.
I do. I just thought it was a weird, like I said, it was more that I thought the way he worded it was weird. But I think the other big takeaway from this scene is which I really like that they did, is how Victor's like, you've changed. And they kind of used it as an excuse to why he's gotten older. And it just makes me crack up because I keep thinking of all of our conversations of making fun of Tall Walt because he got older. And I
like that they had an answer for it though. He's like, everything's changed.
Yeah. So it's because he obviously looks a lot older. His voice is deeper. I thought it was cute. I like that they did that.
Yeah. Well, that's because Jack Bender was like, listen, and everybody else that worked on Lost is working on this show was like, listen, we can't have another Tall Walt incident. We got to explain this.
Yeah, we have to figure this out, and I saw a lot of comments also where people are talking about the boy's appearance being different. And does it mean something? And I really don't think so. Like people were saying, oh, is he whiter than he was before? Is he? I mean, if you look at him before, that's shot totally differently. Yeah, his skin is not quite as white, but it's being shot in a different. There's a shadow being cast on his face there, obviously, and he's in a tower. He's in that tower that was lit, right? I mean, I think. From shot to shot. I mean, did he look older? Sure, the actor is older, but he's getting taller. But I don't know that he's getting paler necessarily, or that is But I agree with you. I like that they had at least something to they're kind of explaining this young man getting taller in a place where nothing is supposed to ever change.
Yeah.
That was cool. But
And I think, whoops, sorry. Yeah, I think we're let's see. Okay. I was just gonna say, so some people think he's helped, some people thinks he doesn't. Fletcher isn't sure because of the worms, which is true. The worms did get into town technically, since he sent Boyd down into the well. But also he's talking about him sending Tabitha to the real world and helping her remember. Which Fletcher says real world in quotation marks. Yeah, we don't know for sure. We're assuming. And then Fletcher also said, which I've been hearing this a lot lately, that the man in yellow maybe is an older version of the boy in white, and that we say maybe it'll be him in the next cycle. I don't know. And then let's see. I wonder if they've already filmed the scene. Yeah, they might have. But yeah. So I guess it depends how you look at it, whether he's helped them or not, because some of it's led to good, some of it's led to bad. And you can also think about the fact he got Tabitha out, but somebody brought her back. May or may not have been involved in that. We don't know, but she came back and she brought more people with her. So I'm not sure if that was helpful or not in the long run,
Yeah.
I think right now, guys, we're just gonna keep it to us three for this part while we're reviewing our shows. But thank you for joining us and for being in the chat.
So
got through. Sorry, that's the stuff.
I was gonna say, did we have scenes with him and Henry in this one, or is it just Henry and Jade talking about him?
Just Henry and Jade, which that was a quick small scene. So that was hilarious. The whole time I'm thinking, as soon as I see Jade going up this ladder, I'm thinking he's gonna fall off the ladder. Something's gonna happen, and then I see, he sees Christopher and I forget the damn doll's name.
Jasper.
And then Jasper hissed at him and he almost fell off the ladder, which I thought was great. It's like he knew it was going to
scream. You know what? Somebody though said that I never thought of. Why does Christopher not talk to him? Because Christopher, usually the whatever these things are do talk. It's kind of weird that Christopher doesn't talk.
Doesn't really.
So yeah,
it was just funny.
But it was funny, and I liked his conversation with Henry, and I feel like Henry's saying that Jade. Granted, it's funny. He's saying, he's trying to make a doll talk, and you're talking to people who aren't there. It was funny, but I like that he kind of sees Victor in him, because I think it means he likes Jade too, even though he maybe doesn't say that, and maybe Jade's being Jade. I think he still likes Jade. But I think my biggest thing with this scene is that I think is interesting is that it's basically what Jade says to Victor, or to Henry, is basically the same thing Henry said to Jim. Because in the other episode, he said to Jim, you're trying to fix his wife, and there's nothing wrong with her. And he's saying the same thing. And it's like he hasn't taken his own advice, but he's saying, Victor, this is Victor. There's nothing wrong with Victor. He's been here. This is who he's become, and you need to accept that.
Yeah, I thought about that when that scene happened too. I was like, just last week you were telling somebody that somebody wasn't broken. How you can't figure it? Because and that's the funny thing. It's always harder when you're closer to a situation and you can't see it the same way.
But I think Jade's being insightful too, though. In that.
Oh yeah, I love the Tarzan analogy. I thought that was great. That was perfect.
But I don't know. But you don't really see Jade talk to Vic. I don't know. We see him, I think, sometimes talk to him, but he totally gets Victor, which I really liked. Whether he's normally talk to him or whatever, I enjoyed that. And to answer you, Matt, I don't think he has. We heard muffled speaking when Christopher was talking to the boy in white that Victor saw, but I don't think he's ever talked besides that, other than making the doll talk, but I could be wrong. And Fletcher says that he thinks Christopher and all the guys Jade had hallucinations of her previous Jade's previous life in the cycles. Yeah, could be. Again, could be. We don't know. And thank you, Vanessa. And I know PM said that too. Thank you. We had fun doing the interview. Yeah, but Fletcher doesn't think it's like Tom and Cautry. He thinks it's different. So I think that's pretty much it though for
Yeah, it wasn't a lot with Jade.
surprising Jade.
Jade then announces that he's not participating in the search. He's going back to the bar to work on his
or at least he can pretend to be productive.
Yeah, and then he's gone.
And also, he's making a new bottle tree. I don't know if it's just to kind of, I guess, help him figure things out.
He doesn't know why either. Henry asked him, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I thought it would help. He's like, but he doesn't know why he's doing it either.
Behind the bar, which is why it goes back to really what what's his name, the bartender guy said to him before. You know, maybe it's that people put these up and it's man-made and they, you know, they don't know why they did it or whatever it was he said in that conversation back then. It's kind of the same thing. Maybe the other people just put it up to try to figure things out too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe he's like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters when he didn't know why he was making Devil's Tower. He was just making it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I'm really joking. I don't really think he's like that, but whatever. So let's talk about, I mean, before we get to this whole like searching thing, let's talk about Sarah, who, you know, she's finally fixes the Christmas ornament that she's been trying to fix, her brother's like favorite Christmas ornament. And like, boom, she immediately gets voices, right? Mm-hmm. Which is so like, I mean, are they connected? Did she, you know, like there's this, like, people talk a lot about the symbolism of like, did she finally like kind of get her life back? She's getting her life back together and like, hear the monsters to come mess with you. But they, I mean, so the monsters say like, Fatima's trapped. She's close by. You'll never find her. Like, it's a helpful message until it's like, ha 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 at the end, right?
Yeah, it's like we want you to know that what we did because you're screwed.
I feel like do you feel like the monsters are like? I mean,
well, we don't know whose voices. You know, we don't know who the voices are that she hears.
You're right. I shouldn't say the monsters, but whoever
the entity, whatever it is. It's.
I don't think it. You call it the entity, but I don't really think it's an entity that like an entity.
At least when I call it an entity, I more call it that because we don't know what it is. I kind of mean whatever it is that's doing it.
Okay, so like whatever. You don't mean like there's an entity like a ghost or a whatever.
No. I mean just there's something that we don't know what to call it. Is what I mean. I don't know if that's what they mean, but that's what I mean.
Okay, fair enough. Like whatever's going on there is like doing it to mess with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so in a way look harder though, doesn't it? That's why I don't know, but I guess they think it doesn't matter if they look harder, they're still not going to find it, you know? Whoops.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, she's not that far, and she really isn't that hard to find. Like they're like, oh, she's close by, but or they said like you'll never find her in. Did they say you'll never find her in time?
Yeah, you'll never find her in time.
Something like that.
And so that doesn't really mean in time. Does it mean in time before she dies? Does it just mean in time before the baby comes?
I took it before the baby.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, who knows? But then again, having that baby might kill her. So maybe that's what maybe. I mean, because she's gonna have that baby regardless of whether they find her or not. So I think it means that she's gonna die. You know, at least if they find her and she gives birth to whatever the hell that is with other people around, if she has complications, at least they could maybe try and save her.
Or try and stop it. I mean, it's going faster every time she drinks blood.
How are you going to stop it? It's not something you can stop.
Probably not.
When babies come, they come
along. They're definitely hurrying it along.
Right, it's making it hurry along, but you still can, even if you let it take its time, it's still not going to stop it. It's got to come to fruition eventually, or probably she's going to lose her fucking mind.
That's true.
Yeah. But Sarah, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about Sarah. Was becoming like one of my kind of favorite characters. And it's interesting that they chose Sarah to deliver that message. Well, I guess like they don't communicate with everyone this way. Like they would have had to send Father Cautry to talk to Boyd, right? Or like everybody, like there's different. They communicate different ways. So I'm not really sure. Like I like why did they choose Sarah? I don't know why they chose Sarah.
Maybe because they knew Boyd would listen to her. I don't, because nobody else would. I
Well,
mean, I do find it kind of interesting.
maybe that's kind of the point. Hey, let's tell the girl that murdered people. It'll mess with them even further because nobody's gonna. Yes, Boyd's gonna believe her, and Boyd's gonna go. Transpire what happened, but it's almost like the
Like
voice.
maybe they
Maybe,
wanted
I don't know.
her.
I mean, trying to figure out the motivation of the voices. Who knows? Or maybe it's just because Sarah's whatever is involved with Fatima is connected to the voices in Sarah's head, and that's why this is the one, the way that they told them.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they expected Boyd to tell people who it was, and then they figured they wouldn't believe him, wouldn't listen. But
that's the thing.
It also might be that Sarah's the only one that can hear them too, because Sarah's voices are not the same thing as, at least I don't think, the same thing as like Boyd seeing Cautry. I mean, she isn't seeing somebody. She isn't, because we don't even know if the people that they're seeing that are dead are actually like from the town doing it or in their head. We don't really know for sure. Where like the voice is a voice from something bad. At least that's what we think, or I assume is the consensus. So I think that maybe she's the only one that can, because only her and Elgin have actually heard something without seeing it, I would say. Or am I missing somebody? I'm thinking. I don't think.
Yeah, are they the only ones who heard without?
And Elgin's is a little bit different because he sees the thing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think we've seen anybody that's like heard voices as opposed to seen ghosts. If they're, I mean, not that they're necessarily ghosts. I'm calling it that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abby. Matt says Abby. Did Abby, or did Abby hear voices? Yeah, I guess she did, because that's why she was killing people. So yeah, Abby heard voices.
Oh yeah, Abby heard voices.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, it really was a major step that like sends everybody like, it sort of heightens the urgency. They end up calling everybody to town, right? Boyd's got this idea that he's going to call this like
all the new red shirts
town meeting type deal.
It's all the red shirts.
That's what I say, because there's all these new people we've never seen before.
There are a lot of people we've never seen before, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And
we've probably seen them, just didn't notice them.
He has had he's had this conversation with Ellis, and they call this town meeting and they're going to go find her. And this is when everybody splits off and goes in pairs and goes looking for her. This was kind of like interesting pairings.
I just want to say before we get into that, because what I was going to say happens before this. You kind of
okay. All right. Sorry.
I feel like, no, it's okay. I just thought that way we don't have to back up. I was surprised that Ellis gave up as easy as he did, like with not continuing to look for her before this all happened, before Sarah came and said all this, when Boyd made him leave for the night. And he's like, oh, she has a talisman, she'll be fine, was basically what he said.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a little surprised by that.
Well, I am too. I was too, because she's like they have agreed that whatever is going on with her, she's either lost it or there's something evil growing inside her, right? And they've sort of agreed that So why would you want to leave that person alone and unsupervised, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I mean, I get that he doesn't want his kid going out in the dark because he could be killed by the monsters. Like, I get that part, but I just felt like I don't know. I just felt like he agreed too easy.
That he should be a little more concerned about his.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did kind of, I mean, to be fair, he's sort of hysterical and losing it, where he's very, very concerned about his wife, his child. Maybe he's not like in the greatest decision-making space. And Boyd, I mean, what's with Boyd? Does Boyd Boyd's like, she's be fine. She's got a talisman. Okay, maybe she'll be fine. Maybe she won't be fine.
Because Boyd's trying to keep Ellis calm. I don't think Boyd believes for a minute that things are going to turn out okay if they don't find her. But it also doesn't make any sense for them to just go traipsing around the forest in the middle of the night looking for her. I mean, I understand what Boyd was trying to do. I don't think Boyd believed half of what he was saying, but he was saying what he needed to say to keep Ellis safe. Because it wouldn't have done them any good to have Ellis running off half cocked, because then he'd have to worry about both of them.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Now, the other thing, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
I was going to say, the other thing that we have of them before they start looking around with the other people is that he finally has to tell Ellis about his Parkinson's because he almost falls in the woods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, Ellis is a little pissed he didn't tell him. I don't blame him. Like, I understand Christy knew. She kind of had to because she was his doctor, or his nurse, whatever you want to call it. But like, he told Kenny too, and he's never told his son. And yeah, I get that he's upset. But yeah, now he knows. I'm not sure what else to say about that. Now he knows.
I mean, I guess that could definitely be the kind of thing that you were waiting for the right moment and couldn't find it, right? Like, when was the time that he could tell his son this terrible news? And
there has been a lot going on. Oh, by the way, sorry, we've got to stop, looking for your wife because I have Parkinson's. I guess I kind of get that, but.
Well, I mean, and even in the real world, would he have kept that type of information from his son? Like, he saw remember Boyd's father had Parkinson's. He doesn't have his diagnosis comes from Christy. He wasn't diagnosed before he came to Fromville, right? But he saw his father go through it. He knows what's coming for him. And I guess he wants to spare his son that maybe for as long as he can. But the cat's out of the bag now, at least as far as Ellis is concerned, and it's getting bad enough that probably other people would start to notice, right? So it was a little, I mean, it's interesting they did it at this moment. They didn't have to have this big emotional kind of like thing, right? Like, I'm sure entire shows have been made about people like having a disease and having to like tell their family and all.
Yeah, and they don't really have a lot of time right now to go into it. But at least he knows. But he also told him about Tian Chen too, which kind of, I don't want to say it was out of nowhere, but I don't know that it was kind of weird time to tell him. But I guess he's like, well, I have another secret. I guess was more where that came from.
I think the point he was making there was to basically tell him the town is trying to break me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's like,
so
this is what happened.
Yeah. Like, that was an important piece of information to have at that time.
Yeah. All right. So back to them looking for her and the town looking for her. So Donna, when she finds out what Sarah said, she's like, I'm not going to tell. And she, they kind of enlist everybody to help. Well, sorry,
I mean, that was kind of a big deal. Like, Donna's decision not to tell is based on her deciding that Fatima means too much to the whole town. She's, what did she say? Like, her shining light, and like everybody would be like so freaked out if they.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think that's really why, or do you think it's more because of herself? Like,
of her own.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I mean, like, she even says that she's like, because of this and because of how much she means to me. And I hadn't thought about that. I mean, Fatima really has interacted with a lot of people. And she always is kind of like the bright spot. I think that's why they showed that flashback of her anniversary, to kind of remind the audience, Fatima's touched a lot of people, and she's right. It's not, part of it, it's partially selfish on Donna's part because of what she means to her. But I think she's right. I think telling everybody about Fatima before they have all the answers would really put a negative spin on the town right now, and that's the last thing they need.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's sort of really on the edge. Things are really not good right now.
Definitely not. No, let me ask you guys though. They split, like Boyd tells Ellis, we need to split up. it would be better if we find her rather than somebody else because of what she did. And I don't know if he's worried they'll find out, worried maybe Fatima will tell him. We don't know, but he's like, it's better if we do this. I was kind of a little surprised at first the way they split them up, but then I thought it makes a lot of sense because I feel like if Boyd wants help to find her, I think Kenny's a good choice. But also more than that, I feel like if he does find her and something goes wrong, I think Kenny would not be rash like a lot of people and maybe would at least listen to Boyd, you know? So I felt like that made sense. And then Donna going with Acosta, like somebody has to, I feel like, watch Acosta because she'll start, snooping around again. So I felt like it kind of made sense, even though they didn't outright say it, that it worked out that way. So they're keeping track.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Donna and Acosta was a perfect pairing. And I thought their conversation was great until Donna finally was like, all right, listen, solve this first. Then I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Like, shut down.
We don't have time for this shit right now.
But the great thing was Acosta was like, all right, fair enough. Let's go.
And I think she could be an asset and a lot of help. I just think she needs to quit getting so emotional over it,
Well, yeah, she needs more schooling.
Yeah. And that's what Donna tries to tell her. Donna's like, you don't know anything about anything. And I don't have time to give you the whole story of how this town messes with everyone differently, and individually, right? It was. I mean, I think a lot of people maybe felt good seeing Acosta kind of put in her place a little bit, or right. She's very.
Well, I think it was good that the way Donna did it. People keep putting her in her place. But it's usually Boyd. And Boyd has been so abrupt with her, it hasn't been a productive conversation where at least Donna put it, wasn't screaming at her. She might have been, a little loud with her, but put it in a way that Acosta could, maybe actually accept it and be like, okay, you know what? I get what you're saying.
In other words, not screaming in her face like Boyd.
Exactly. Yeah. Boyd screaming at you isn't going to get, Boyd screaming at anybody isn't productive.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how that worked with Christy. Just do your job.
Yeah. Yeah. Not. Yeah. We've talked about this before. Other people had the chance to be more slowly integrated or adjusted to what's going on here, right? She has had Acosta arrived at a time when shit is just going bad right and left, right? And no one really has time to deal with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, nothing has slowed down since she's gotten there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that and this really was. This scene really is kind of more about Donna, I think, anyway, right?
Yeah.
About how Donna is coping. Or not coping and dealing with what's going on in town. Still one of my favorites, but she's slowly
unraveling.
They're all slowly falling apart, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you though, how do you guys feel about the flashbacks? I always think it's weird because we don't get them except in a very rare circumstance. Because I think this is the second actual flashback that's a regular flashback, and it to me feels a little out of place, but I think it's just because they're not there very often. It's not that it's out of place.
What flashback
of her? I just wanted to, I'm sorry we moved on to that, but I was thinking about Donna and how she has the flashback with Fatima. I was just curious how you guys felt, because it kind of took me out of it a little.
Well, I already said that actually. I feel like it was kind of just to remind the audience, that was season 1. So it was kind of, I think, maybe just a little nudge of a reminder for the audience, to show. Because, had Donna said everything she said about Fatima, and how important she was to everybody and how she's a shining light, blah, 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 I would have taken it because it came from Donna. But I think seeing that little clip kind of it's kind of like previously on, to kind of remind you of shit before it happens.
Yeah, it was just
that's
a little.
I don't know.
I just thought it was real, I don't want to say out of, like I said, I don't mean out of place, just we don't see it very often. So it's surprising, I guess, to me when they stick it in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're unusual. They don't happen a ton, but this is I mean this is not that show, right? It's not a flashbacky show.
Yeah, that's true.
So we had other pairings that were also like very interesting. We had another pair walking around, which was, I mean, we should probably first talk about Elgin. Oh my god, Elgin like sidled up to Ellis, right? And he's like, Ellis, let me help you look for your missing wife.
Yeah, let me make sure you don't go where I don't want you to go is more, I think, what it is.
Well, yeah, for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure, that's what that was. And it was very, it's kind of like in the earlier talk we had today with Chloe Van Lanschut. I mentioned offhand, like it gets worse every week with like what Ellis has done. Like,
Elgin.
you know,
Elgin. Yeah,
Elgin. He thinks what he's doing is right. But as he gets sneakier and it gets worse, right? Like this is now he's not just like I don't know. Now he's deceiving more people. I don't know. It just feels it's creepier and sneakier and worse, right?
And it's kind of worse. He went with Ellis too, though. That made it worse because he is obviously keeping him away,
and so he acted super weird, right? He's like, "Oh, yeah, don't worry, I think the baby will be fine." And Ellis is like, "What does it have to do with the baby? She's missing, right?" Like, and last time Ellis saw her, she's so early in her pregnancy, she's not even showing.
Yeah.
Like it's the class.
They didn't even tell people. Was Elgin? I guess Elgin knew because Tilly knew. Maybe I can't remember how he found out because they don't question that. So he had already found out. I'm just trying to remember how.
Doesn't everybody know she's supposed to be pregnant?
Yeah, I guess at this point, I guess.
Yeah, everybody knows because remember Nikki?
Yeah, no, it was they didn't know she wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, Nikki's like, just because you're pregnant, you don't get to use the bathroom all the time, right?
Right. No, yeah, you're right. They all know. I don't know why I was thinking they didn't. But so yeah, he's kind of keeping them out of wherever and I guess leading him around. But he's very suspicious. And I think through all this, I'm like hoping Ellis notices that because it's kind of obvious.
Ellis isn't smart enough.
But yeah, he so far hasn't seemed to have caught on to it. I mean, he questions them, but I think it's just because he's like really distraught. He sort of doesn't.
Sorry, Ellis is not the smartest person in Fromville, so.
Yeah.
But so when the episode opens and Elgin is feeding her the blood, I thought, you know what? He is trying to be helpful. He thinks he's being helpful. And she eventually does take the blood. She says no to the blood because she doesn't want to have to need it. But as soon as she gets a sip of it, she's like, "Oh, gimme." So,
yeah, I mean, he's not hurting her per se, but keeping her,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's.
I still think it would have been better if he like told them, hey, I have this place you can hide out. And
right. I feel like. I feel like maybe if he explained his motives to Fatima, yeah, if he explained his, maybe that would be a little helpful maybe because like right now it's kind of he's like, here, drink the blood, the baby's gonna be fine. Like, explain why you're doing this.
Doesn't she say something to him though about what's talking to him is wrong or something like that? This isn't a good thing.
He never says something's talking to me. That like no, he has not yet. No.
Okay.
He is not.
No, I mean, I was thinking she said something to him about the kimono woman. Maybe not.
No, he's not said anything that he sees. He hasn't. No. He hasn't said anything to anyone about seeing this kimono lady, except maybe Tilly. But I don't think anyone's ever seen her except no, they did not.
Well, Fatima's seen her.
Fatima saw her. That's why I said I thought Fatima said that.
Fatima had not seen her until that last moment where the kimono lady.
No, yes, she has. She saw her.
She has. Where'd you see her?
Was it last week?
In the cabin last week.
Oh,
yeah. In the cabin.
Yeah, okay, so she hadn't seen her before the cabin last week, though, right? No, it's not like Elgin.
I thought she says something to Elgin like she's not good. Maybe she doesn't. I thought she did.
No, you either spoiling us on the finale or you.
No, I'm mixing something up. I swear he said that to her. I don't know what I'm thinking then.
No, no. This is not a way to like get people to like. Right, like anything he says now is not even believable anyway, and he has this like creepy air of a little bit of a psycho now. I feel like, right, or maybe it's because he's just being so. But like after you drag someone down the stairs and lock them up, there's no way that I mean, she's at the point where she's like ripping off pieces of her bed to try to stab him. So, I mean, this is just,
So, here's my thing. How is Kimono Lady?
No, it is here. I have it in the recap. It says he's trying to protect her. She tells him she saw the thing that's been speaking to him and what she's saying isn't true. The thing inside her isn't good and it won't do good things. Look what happened to Tilly. And he tells her that happened because the baby was scared and hungry. That is in my recap.
He does say the baby was scared and hungry. And that's why you stabbed Tilly.
But why she knows he saw it is beyond me. But
I don't recall her ever saying the thing that's speaking to you is bad. Sorry, I don't remember. If that happened, I'm sorry. I don't remember that.
Unless it's something they changed. I mean, it's possible that it was a scene that was deleted or something, but it's definitely.
It doesn't matter, really. It doesn't really matter.
No, I'm just saying.
Here's my question, though. This is my question. How is Kimono lady able to put her hand over Fatima's mouth?
Yeah, she's corporeal, right?
Yeah, how? Since when?
We've not seen them.
The boy in white has.
What is
that? I don't care about the boy in white.
No, but I mean the boy in white was able to touch Tabitha because he pushed her. I'm saying it's in that
right, but
way.
what I'm saying is we've never known him not to be corporeal. You know what I mean? Whereas Kimono Lady, nobody could see her up till now except for Elgin. Even if somebody else is in the room, he can see her. Nobody else can see her. Now all of a sudden she's corporeal enough to keep Fatima quiet.
Yeah, she can like put her hand right over her mouth now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, that's kind of big. We haven't. I mean, we see like Tom, the bartender, maybe sit in a chair, right?
Touching a glass, but he didn't interact.
Wiping a glass, but I think he brought the glass with him.
I think he brought the glass with him also. Yeah. Yeah, I think he brought the glass with him. So yeah, she's able to do. I mean, she's different, or they just haven't exercised that yet. It's all just getting scarier, maybe, right? Like it's just getting scarier. So
you would think if she can touch her, why not just force her herself to drink the blood? Like, why use Elgin in the first place?
Well, I mean, I think because if I think if I'm the kimono lady, isn't it way easier to get Elgin to convince her to go in the cellar than to try to grab her and kidnap her, and she starts screaming and running away and telling people like an evil kimono lady's chasing her and whatever, right? Like
that's a good point.
I mean, I think it's easier to
no, you're right. You're
have an agent act on your behalf.
Yeah.
Certainly, that's an easier way to do it. I mean, and also, I don't know. I was going to say the monsters don't really seem to want. I mean, we believe she's a different kind of monster than some of the other monsters. Than like
Smiley, she's definitely different.
Smiley and Swingcoat Lady in there.
Yeah, she can also. Yeah, nobody sees her other than Elgin and Fatima.
And she also looks like a corpse, and the rest of them don't.
Yeah, and she
Yeah,
can walk around during the daytime.
Yeah. So Fatima, a lot happens while Fatima's in that root cellar. We also see her stomach, her pregnancy is accelerating,
Yes.
which is, I mean, look, she went in there. She had, of course, the coat was hiding her, but she went in there with a pretty flat stomach. And Elgin says something to her after she drinks the blood the next day. He says,
Like, look at you.
It's like I told you it would make it go faster. Pretty soon you'll be
Yeah.
out here. Just keep
Yeah.
drinking blood. I still find it, and I mentioned this Sunday, but I think it's funny that he gave her the clothes and she actually stopped and changed. I don't know why I found that funny, but I'm just kind of like, this guy kidnapped you. He's making you stay down there. You're busy, trying to rip metal off a bed to protect yourself, but yet you stopped to change. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, that shirt was about to pop off on its own.
Yeah, the clothes don't fit her anymore because of the pregnancy, is what it is.
Yeah, I know. I just wonder that you would really stop to do that, I guess. But maybe she was.
Yeah, you would. If you're wearing pants that are too small just because you got fat, like they're not comfortable.
I guess that's true.
Right?
I just thought it was funny. Yeah.
So what do we? Go ahead, Karen. Finish your thought.
There's just no way she could even fit in the costume with a fake belly under there. There's like no way.
Yeah.
She
Script wise, but I meant like if you were kidnapped, I don't know that would be what you would be thinking about, I guess. But I guess if you were uncomfortable, you would maybe.
Her clothes would literally be cutting into her at the rate that baby's growing. They'd be like cutting her like waist, and her boobs would be getting bigger and busting out of her shirt.
Very true.
So where do you guys think that hatch leads?
I think it leads to the tunnels.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think so too. We were discussing how it'd be really funny if like they showed a view up from the hatch or down from the hatch that was like lost, just to be funny.
That would
or
be
like
funny.
music starts playing.
That'd be great.
That would be awesome. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I would assume down in the tunnels. I mean, like it's all a block wall. Like it kind of looks like it's.
I don't know where else could it go? Like unless it goes to like the secret TV studio because they're all in the cabin in the woods or something, right? It has to go to the tunnels. I don't really know where else it could go.
Yeah.
Either way, she can't get it open, so it doesn't really.
I mean, I think she will get it open.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think
you don't know it if you're not going to get it open.
I think if she breaks off a bed leg, she might be able to pry it open.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that is Chekhov's gun. It's going to be opened, right? It just better be open next week. The only question is if it doesn't get open next week, how pissed do we get?
Level 2 of Fromville, Gothic says.
Level 2 of Fromville, yeah. Like it has to be. It has to lead to the tunnels. Does anybody have you read any theories that it's something else, Jamie?
No, I just heard people saying that they wanted her to open it to see it. I don't think I've read anything. I mean, I've seen people say they think it's the tunnels, but I don't remember seeing anything other than that. I don't know. Like you said, what else could it be? I mean, it's something underground. We know it's something underground because she's already partially underground. So,
well, yeah, she is already partially underground, right?
Yeah.
And so it goes to these tunnels. Whoever built them, whatever they are, it's going to these tunnels and
yeah. All right.
And, I mean, that has to be it. Yeah.
I want to. I think we've covered all these too. I want to switch over real quick to Jim and Ethan. I got to say, I think do we think Jim has finally turned the corner and isn't going to be a dick anymore? That conversation he had with Tabitha.
He seems to be trying to be a better father and a better husband. It took him way too long, though, and I keep saying I think it's a little too.
Well, I mean, that conversation with Henry, I think, is what really it finally sunk in.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a great job with Ethan. Getting basically telling Ethan, don't blame yourself for what happened to Julie. And was it just me, or were you waiting for the walkie-talkie to start talking the whole time?
Oh yeah, I think everybody knew it would.
The Stevie radio.
But I love how they just totally ignored it and left. Like, screw
No, that
you.
was good.
We know you're full of crap.
Oh, that was
Especially
great.
Ethan did. I like that. That was great. But yeah, I do think that he had a good conversation with him. I think he's trying. And I think he's trying with Julie too, because he goes to see Randall and surprisingly does not scream, which I expected, even though he's like wants to know why she was hanging out.
Yeah,
with
that was
her.
actually, I forgot about that. That was a good conversation too.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to yell because Randall's like, well, what did she say we were doing? That was like right there. I thought he was going to scream at him, but no, he's actually kind of like, I know she went through something and you might know what it is, so talk to me. And I just like that conversation. He's kind of like, talk to your daughter, take her driving. You can't do anything else. You can't fix what's going on. At least be present. I feel like it's kind of what he was saying, and he needed to hear that. He also was nicer to his wife this time too. I mean, they were like, he kissed her and everything. Not that that's like a big thing, but they were pretty much separated, and they seem to be heading back together a little bit after this one, I think. Yeah, he's trying. I still think it's too late, but he's trying. Well, at least it would be if it was me anyway.
I mean, is it too late? I don't think it's too late.
It's never too late, I guess, for him to make up with his kids. I just would be surprised if suddenly this fixes their marriage, I guess, is more what I'm saying. Is too.
Well, I mean, a big part of the problem with their marriage was the death of Thomas,
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, not that much. I mean, it feels like a lot to us because it's been 3 seasons, but in the grand scheme of Fromville, they haven't been there, maybe a month?
That's a good point.
2 at most?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
Henry was kind of the catalyst for it last week.
I mean, to say it's too late, it depends if you believe that he has irrevocably damaged his relationships with his wife and children. And
I don't think it has.
I guess, to be fair, you're stuck there with them on that town. It's not like there's lots of other people around. So I guess it probably most things can be fixed. But I don't know.
I think a bigger question to me really is, can he keep it up? I don't know if Jim, Jim can be nice for 5 minutes, but can Jim keep it up? I don't know.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Has he turned a corner and can it stick?
Yeah, and is this like a redemption arc? Because that's what it kind of feels like.
And I said, I mean, yeah, a redemption arc. He's not being nice to your kid for 1 day is not redemption, right?
No, but that's what it feels like they're pushing. Like, I don't know. And then you just worry, like, where else can they go? But I agree. Like, will he keep it up? I don't know. Hopefully.
I hope he does, because I get really tired of stupid yelling Jim.
Yeah.
Of course, then again, who knows? Who knows? Because Boyd had a brain fart moment this week when he's yelling at the monster through the window and he pulls out his gun. Like, Boyd, what are you going to do with the gun?
I know. Which, by the way, that monster with her gun to her head, that actress just did that because they were saying that on Twitter. So, like, she just added that. It wasn't part of the script. So that was like smart. I like the way that went.
Interesting.
Little ad-libbing fun.
I will say that Jim, so I appreciate that he is going to spend a little time with his son and try to have a conversation and do a little better. But he's supposed to be trying to find Fatima, and they go to a place where she certainly is not. Like, she just certainly is not in the RV. In fact, Ethan even says, like, do you really she's in the RV? And he's like, well, no. Right? Jim's like, well, no, she's probably not in the RV.
But to be fair, he should put him before Fatima. Usually he probably wouldn't, but he should.
But I really, Jamie, don't think that with Fatima in a potentially life-threatening situation, now is the time. I really think. Okay,
I guess that's true. I'm just saying, for him to care about his kid first and foremost isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, but you said you would go. If you're not going to search for her,
doesn't have to do it right now.
If you're not going to search for her, then tell people you're not going to search. At least Jade was like, "I'm not doing this."
Jim, here's my question.
Maybe he also doesn't want to put his kid in danger either. Ethan's pretty young.
Maybe
search.
Maybe I need to see like an aerial shot of the town, because I feel like everybody was like further out than they should be. Like, she's close. And I feel like everybody was in places that were not close.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They all went to places that were not close. Although, I mean, I don't, until that comment, I don't know if I would say the root cellar is close.
You know, though, I have to wonder why nobody thought to look for the root cellar, but I guess the one that would maybe think of the root cellar would be Jade, actually, because he's the one that saw the body down there and everything.
I think the root cellar is. I mean, people have gone to the root cellar quite a few times. I don't know. Maybe it's just because the way they like. I'm sorry. I feel like the road and the RV takes a minute.
Way further out than
like that takes a minute. I don't even know where Acosta and Donna were. They were just randomly in the middle of the woods somewhere.
Random woods,
same thing with Boyd and Kenny.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why I felt like I don't feel like you guys are close. You're just in the middle of the random woods. Like, when I hear close, I'm starting from the center of town and working my way out, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and they're not checking, like, is somebody going, maybe red shirts are going through all the houses, and, like, should they be checking all the houses, checking all
like, maybe she's hidden in the basement of a house. Hell, maybe she's under their house that's collapsed. I would be more likely to look there than I would at the RV.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair about the RV, Tabitha looks in Victor's truck.
Well, she could be tied up in there or something.
Well,
she could have been tied up in the RV.
I mean, here's the thing. It's because the point of this was not for anybody to search for and find Fatima. The point was because the writers need the characters to have some conversations, which they almost never do. And so, like, this was a time that they were.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of conversations, I was very happy that Julie opened up to Tabitha about what happened.
Wait, before we get to that, I wanted to hit something really quick because we're going to end up moving away from these characters. We didn't talk about Kenny and Boyd having their conversation.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of them.
Which I think was important because...
he's a deputy again.
Yeah, but I think that was a big thing, and Kenny has forgiven him, I think. I mean, at least as much as he can forgive him. I like the conversation. Yeah, and Boyd's kind of like, if something happens to me, you have to be here. And he's the one that he trusts. Although the fact that he trusts him above his own son, I'm not sure what that says. But
Ellis is not in any way, shape.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying that. I'm
able to be the
Ellis is not a leader at all.
That's not a trust issue. That's Ellis not being the man for the job.
Yeah.
At all, right? He's just not.
Right. But I liked his conversation with Kenny.
It was nice. You know, it was nice to see Kenny. I mean, Kenny's gonna help out now. Mm-hmm. It was nice. It doesn't. So it's just gonna put those two back as the driving. I mean, it's gonna maybe cause a problem with Acosta also, but she might. Who knows if she'll live? But as for Tabitha and Julie, they're the only people who actually. I mean, they go to Victor's trailer, which it's a more likely place than the RV or the random woods to find her. They did have a nice conversation, didn't they? These two, and a nice little journey together. But it was sort of all like.
No,
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you guys something because I didn't realize this. Somebody pointed this out to me. Okay. So Julie tells her mother that she hears her in the tunnels. Okay. And we do know now for sure that it wasn't just us hearing it, that she heard the Yankui. But what I didn't remember was that when they were saying Yankui in that was not in that scene with Tabitha and Victor. So that had to either be what Jade heard, and she was seeing part of him, and like he, just didn't see him, or it was from another time, like maybe just when the kids were whatever. I don't know if it was further back than that or not, but it wasn't from the scene with Tabitha and Victor in the tunnels at any rate, which I didn't realize. I assumed that had happened when they were together because I don't know. I just assumed that and forgot it didn't. But
Tabitha first saw them when she went in with Jade. not when she went with Victor. Is that what you're saying? And
I don't remember when she did, but yeah, when she was in the tunnel with Victor, they didn't hear that. So that
All right,
was
so
like
Julie's vision included multiple different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably important. Yeah. I don't know what it means, but I think it's important.
No, but actually, I do feel like that particular scene is one thing that leads me to. All right, well, let me put a pin in that until we talk about what happens in the scene. So, they are walking around looking for Fatima, and Kui Kid shows up. And the chemo kid has.
I know, that's what I'm going to forever think. You know what's funny though? That girl reminds me of my little cousin. Like the actress's face. That's what I keep thinking now when I see it. She reminds me of Lizzie, actually. I mean, like, if she was covered in white paint and had her hair falling out, she doesn't look like that. But I mean, just, I don't know. The girl's features makes me think of my cousin.
Well, she appears. Julie doesn't see her, right? Only Tabitha sees her.
Only Tabitha sees her.
And she beckons for them to follow her, right? And she leads them to the root cellar.
Yeah. Now, did she lead them to Victor or did she lead them to Fatima? That's the big question, I think.
That is the big question.
I
think they're leading her to Fatima.
Okay, so you see the opposite I do.
Certainly, as I watched it, I thought she was leading them. I was like, "Oh, she's taking them to Fatima."
Right.
I mean, definitely that's what was happening.
Right. Once she got there, I kind of more feel like it was for the memory. Vision, memory, whatever you want to call it. I know you don't think it was memory. Whatever it was that she saw of Miranda's. Let's put it that way.
I mean, I think she was leading them to Fatima, maybe. And then Victor intercepted them.
That's fair.
Because Victor's already in the cellar. And so
Blair Witch scene, as we've been calling it. Because he's just standing there. We've been calling it the Blair Witch scene because he's standing there just staring. Oh. And it's like in the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Well, he's very traumatized in there.
No, yeah, he was. And I think again, their scenes are really great, the two of them.
And so Kimono Lady is trying to silence Fatima so Victor doesn't hear. And right?
You're telling me Fatima can't overpower a corpse?
A skeleton corpse, yeah.
Maybe she's a really, really strong corpse.
I was kind of surprised also that she wasn't able to putting a hand over someone's mouth doesn't really prevent them from going, trying to still shout, make some noise. But I don't know. I guess there are people who think Kui Girl was leading Tabitha to see Victor. I mean, I'm sure that the fandom must be divided on this, and some think maybe Tabitha's being led to Victor, or some think she was being led to Fatima. I think maybe it was Fatima, and Victor just showed up in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's possible too.
I think.
All right, so let's go. We know what we're all going to do.
So I was going to say at the beginning, because we kind of skipped the beginning, she is trying to get him to remember and he's trying not to more. He doesn't want to continue this because, because of what he found out and feeling at fault for his mother, because that's why she sort of was for a bit chasing him because she, followed him into the church and everything. That was earlier on in the episode. I was just mentioning it because we had skipped it. But yeah, she goes down to him. And now, see, I think the reason why is we discussed this, I think, more at length, I think, after he had left on Sunday, is that it seems that her hugging Victor, at any rate, is what triggers what she sees. Whether it's her memory or Miranda gave her this memory or it's a vision or whatever, it seems to be triggered by hugging Victor. Would you agree with that?
But she has hugged Victor before, so why this hug at this time?
I assume because it's in the root cellar, because it's showing what happened. I wish they'd show it first person because then you would know for sure. I think that showing it third person is.
But I think not showing it first person is part of it, and tells me that she's not. It's not. She didn't see it from. It's not Miranda's POV.
It's definitely not Miranda's point of view. It doesn't seem
Right.
like, no.
You're saying you wish they showed it from her POV so you'd know.
No, I'm saying if it was, maybe that would be less confusing, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I still, at this point, as I said before, I think that it doesn't prove it 100%. I agree with you on that. I did think that it was meant to be Miranda's vision or Miranda's memory, whatever. But I also think it does seem like it could be Eloise. So whether it's reincarnation or not, it did seem like if it was, it could have been from what Eloise was seeing too. It wasn't 100% clear.
So there's a huge chunk of the fandom who believes this is proof that the show is about reincarnation and Tabitha is the reincarnation of Miranda.
How do you feel about that, AJ?
I think anything's possible. It could definitely be. It could, explain why Jade is having all these different visions of all these different people. It's perhaps he's Christopher. I could definitely see why people think it. I could see the direction of it. I don't think we have enough information yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's 100%. But I do want to bring up something about. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, could it perhaps make sense? Yes, because the whole thing with Ankui has been going on for so long, and it's a vicious cycle that, but it seems like if that's the case, then if you just keep bringing back the same soul in different bodies to try and help them, clearly they suck at it.
I know that's the other thing I've been thinking is that if it is there no hope because clearly it's not worked and they need to do something different if it is to change it. But I know what I was going to say. Now I don't know that this is the case, but PM made a good point Sunday. You know how like she's clutching her face after when she's like, you know how many times Tabitha always says no, which she does again, as she always does. We're always making fun of that. But when she was holding her face, PM had made a point that maybe that was her remembering Miranda getting her face ripped off because that's what she sees, which I think is an interesting thought because I definitely did not think of that. But I thought it was an interesting thought if it is the case, I mean,
it's an interesting thought. I think I'm with AJ that anything's possible. It's possible. There's definitely something cyclical going on here. I do not think that Miranda was reincarnated as Tabitha. I just don't see enough on the screen to make me feel that that's what we're looking at. And I'm not sure it's really... I just don't, to AJ's point, bringing back the same people, in that case, they're not being brought back to save the children. Why bring back the same people? I guess so they can, like, reincarnation is about I haven't studied reincarnation like spiritually, but isn't it about like coming back until you get it right? And are these people...
They haven't got it right yet.
I got it right yet. I just don't. I feel more like she was granted a memory, or granted a vision. And she said, no, it's not possible. And she ran off, Tabitha, right? No, it can't be. No, it's not, whatever she says, right? And she can't deal and she's taking off. But I just don't know, and then she sees the death of Miranda. Now, someone in the chat on Sunday's show said, well, it can't be Eloise unless Eloise was in a drone flying above them, because how could it be Eloise's point of POV because it's from above? But by the same argument, then it's not Miranda's POV either, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
unless Eloise is the one watching. I mean, that's also possible. Maybe it is
from a drone.
Not seeing. Oh, that is true. It is over.
Should be up in the tree. Should be
up. Although that also could just be more of a cinematic choice and not necessarily
all of it. Which is why they should stay away from it being anybody's point of view other than the viewer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe all of us should not worry about POV because perhaps the filmmakers are not worried about POV. It's just, I mean, how many times have I had a dream where I can see myself in the dream, right?
That's true.
Your dreams aren't only from your own POV. But it's interesting that, so if this was a vision, like the town is able to give people visions of other people all the time, right? But this wasn't just this had to be triggered by Victor somehow. And why wasn't she's hugged Victor many times? Like why? So I like the idea that it happens in the root cellar. Like the root cellar is some sort of place that, which would then beg the question: maybe Yankui Girl was in fact sending Tabitha to Victor and not to Fatima.
To take that a step further, it could be, why did she all of a sudden now have a combination of things? The root cellar, Victor's mind was completely on his mother. So why wouldn't she see a vision of, of what happened that night,
Yeah. But I don't think it proves or disproves anything about Eloise.
No, we're not saying it does.
I don't think that Eloise is dead, because I think that the fact that Victor says she's dead doesn't mean she's dead, and we haven't seen a body. So we didn't see her run to the tree with her mother either. So I don't think it proves anything in regards to
she got out.
I don't know. She could have ran through the tree and her mother was following her.
There's a school of thought that Tabitha's more likely to be, that Eloise is more likely to be reincarnated as Tabitha than, right? That's a theory also.
I think that's possible. I think the reason before people thought it wasn't Eloise was because the age is wrong. But if it's a reincarnation, I don't think the age matters.
Well, because no, the age doesn't matter if it's reincarnation. But people were saying that Eloise somehow got out and that she's Tabitha, but that doesn't make that doesn't work.
AJ, it works in the Caddo Lake scenario that she got out and couldn't get back and somehow was raised by other people and has been brought back to the town.
Yes, right. But the age doesn't work for Tabitha is what I'm saying. That's why
Tabitha is a lot younger than Victor's sister would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean she's his little sister, but still. We don't really know how old Victor's supposed to be, but he's been there. They keep saying he's been there for 40 years, right?
Yeah. So Victor's probably in his early 50s, maybe, or somewhere around there.
Let's put it this way: Eloise and Victor were a couple years apart. Tabitha and Victor are not only a couple years apart.
But at any rate, she runs to the tree. She gets killed. All we see is, well, we don't even know. I mean, we see him attack her. We're assuming she's dead. He probably did rip her face off, but they don't actually show it. But Smiley. I think it was a cool scene. I liked it. I mean, not that I wanted her to die, but I mean, I liked that Smiley came out, and it was interesting that he ran. Not that I think they couldn't run before, but I think it was interesting that he did. But maybe it was he was afraid she'd get through the tree, so he had to. Or normally they think they can just stalk them and scare the crap out of them, where, he was running out of time, so he ran.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could just be that she was trying to get to the tree, and that's where he got her and killed her.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, though, people do read too much into things, because there was this whole conversation where somebody thought it looks like there's no hole in the tree suddenly. I think it's the angle of the camera. I think it's just the
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely the angle.
Occam's razor. You just can't see it. But you can't, I mean, you're right. You can't see it in that part of the scene, but I think it's just the way it was filmed.
Yeah, it's just the angle.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess we've covered this pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we did everything.
Yeah, we got other stuff we got to talk about tonight.
They went to the Brundles again. People keep bringing up the Brundles, but we don't know anything about it. Other than Hannah said, maybe there's monsters living under the water. That would be cool. But other than that,
that would be kind of cool.
Other than that idea, we don't know, and that's not, that's what she said could be. She don't know.
Yeah. All right, we got, this is not a From show. We got other things to talk about. I'm sorry. We love From, but it's 10:15 and we have 10 more shows that we're covering.
I think we've covered it all. Well, everybody, thank you. If you don't want to listen to the rest, we are going to talk about now Silo, which I think if you like From, you'd like, and Dune.
But we're back with another interview next week.
Yes, Elizabeth Saunders will be on the 26th.
Elizabeth Saunders, who plays Donna. She plays Donna.
Yeah, she plays Donna. But before that, I'm like getting my dates mixed up, which is first. Sunday on the 24th at 10 p.m. Eastern, we have I can't talk. Jamie McGuire, who played Smiley. So that is Sunday. And then after that, we'll have our deep dive. So make sure you guys come back from that. And like I've said before, we're also getting John Griffin and Jeff Pinkner. We're just waiting for a date and time. But I will post that, on socials once we find out. And, who knows? Maybe by then we'll have more people coming. We'll see.
Well, we're also going to try to reschedule.
Yes, and Avery, who was supposed to be here tonight, had to reschedule. We will be rescheduling Avery hopefully pretty soon as well.
What's her last name?
Avery Conrad, who plays Sarah. So yeah,
cool.
And I also have another From interview coming up that isn't live. That will be up after the finale. I'll just say that and leave it at that. So yeah, lots of stuff coming up.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's go with Silo then. So what did you guys think about this episode? Like, I enjoyed it, but I also feel like they took an awful lot of time to tell part of the story that didn't need that much time. And I guess it depends on how the rest of the season is paced, but I just was sort of surprised that they took so long having her basically break into the other silo.
I mean, you'd think that should have been easier?
No, I'm not saying it should have been easier. I just was surprised they took a whole episode to do it. Because she was supposed to be, let me make sure I understood this though, because she kept going like back and forth across, trying to cross the, where the stairs were broken. She was supposed to be doing that on multiple levels, right? Trying to find somebody, because at first I thought she was on the same level and I couldn't understand why she went back across again, because she couldn't, like, she landed there whenever she swung or whatever. I can't remember. But it seemed she already gotten across, so it was a little.
No, she didn't. She fell in the water, which was a cool shot, by the way. That was so cool. When she was falling, I thought, shit, this is going to hurt. And then she fell in the water like 2 seconds later. I was like, that was cool.
But she climbed back up on the other side then. She couldn't have climbed up on that side. That's what I was kind of confused. Like, why not climb up on the other side? But maybe I was
can't climb up on the other side because there's no other side to climb up on.
Okay.
The staircase is in the middle.
There's an aerial
shot. Okay, yeah.
And then it branches, and then it branches off to each level.
Well, you get. Yeah, there's an aerial shot that shows many of the staircases are broken, which was interesting because that silo is no older than Silo 17, and where she lived. Oh, God, her name just went right out of my head. No. Juliet, where Juliet lived.
Juliet.
And anyway, they show it's very broken down. But I thought you were, Jamie, complaining about the flashbacks, which.
Yeah, I don't know that the flashbacks were necessary either. But I mean, at least those told a new part of the story. Like, I don't know. Look, I'm not saying it wasn't rebellion. I enjoyed it. I'm just saying that knowing that she took forever to try to cross to the other side of the steps, and she took forever to break in and to find an outfit, and I'm just saying we didn't need, whatever it was, 40 minutes of that. You could have accomplished that in like 5 minutes. I don't know. I was just, my thoughts is that it seemed like it took a while. I didn't mind it. I liked it.
Jamie, I hear you, but for you saying that, there's 10,000 people. If it took 5 minutes, people would be saying, "Oh my God, it was."
Yeah, it should have taken longer, right?
How did it take? She gets in there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
I thought the rebellion flashback was kind of interesting. And
the rebellion flashback was interesting.
And the rebellion, it shows that the rebellion didn't take place in Silo 17. Like, so much of season 1.
You mean 18?
Silo 18, is that where she lives? Silo 18?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So much of season 1 was about the pact, and the pact came about because of the rebellion. And I guess, you kind of always assume that the rebellion took place like that. Well, you kind of thought that was you didn't know that there was another silo, like that was the only silo. And it seemed like that the rebellion took place there. Now, kind of find out, the rebellion took place in the silo next door, in another silo. And you saw there was such a unbelievable shot with the thousands of skeletons, right?
Yeah, that was really.
That was cool.
Yeah, but also would be really, I don't want to say heartbreaking, like, they all died, but to see that many bodies, that would be hard, like, from her point of view.
It actually made me wonder if so last season when we see people go out to clean, the air gets you and kills you in about 3 minutes, right? And so it kind of made me wonder, like, why so many people kept coming out after people in front of them were dying. It almost made me wonder if they were driven out, or like the entire silo almost is emptied out. It looks like, right? Like, or did the entire silo go into rebellion?
Adrenaline, and they all sort of ran out, I guess, at once.
I don't know. Or did they see the screen image? No, the screen image came about later. Cleaning comes about after the. Anyway, like that, to me, that was kind of a huge revelation that the rebellion actually happened in the silo next door. And so, like, how did they know? I mean, did they see that? You have to think, like, was there a way for the silos to communicate? Right?
Mm-hmm. That's what I wondered.
Oh, I definitely think there used to be.
Yeah. There had to have been, because how would they learn about this going on in the next door silo?
Just like I think if you swim down the water far enough, you're going to find a door that leads to a tunnel that connects all the silos.
Yeah, she said something before about a door in the last season.
Well, George had said
something,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
but yeah, I think they're all connected.
It was in the recap video I watched. That's what I remember. I didn't rewatch it.
Well, and you do see, like, these people, they're in, like, down a tunnel hiding out, right? The son, who's down here chopped off on the bottom right, comes with this note. I mean, they're definitely living, at a minimum, they're hiding out in the part, the place where George and Juliet had their little love nest.
Yeah.
They're definitely hiding out maybe in that part of their silo, or they have found, like, some hidden tunnels and stuff. But so you think they might all be connected, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's a good thought. But I have a question. The note that they got about the place being flooded, was that supposed to be like they were telling him it was going to be flooded, or was that just supposed to be like the meaning you need to attack now? Because I thought that was a little unclear if that was code or not.
Well, yeah, it was kind of it was twofold. It was, hey, the whole lower deck is going to be flooded in the next 12 minutes. If you're going to do something, do it now. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be here.
It said hours. I wasn't close enough to the TV.
Whatever it was. Whatever it was.
15 minutes. It said the generator's going to flood in 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that makes a big difference. That wasn't. I thought it said so many hours. I didn't read it right then. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, it was like that's what he said. We're going to die one way or the other. So
yeah,
that was another thing too. You said they all kept running out. Why did they keep running out? If it was flooding, they really didn't
have any place to go.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah, you had to go. I mean, you had to get out if it was flooding, right? And so it's interesting in this picture, you can see that the leader of the rebellion is a sheriff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Boy, these sheriffs, they keep figuring shit out.
Sheriffs. Yeah. Sheriffs like to stop appointing the inquisitive people. I mean, I guess that's why they wanted Billings last year, because he was such a rule follower.
Yeah.
Can't have inquisitive sheriffs, but that was very interesting, and I don't know. I feel also if they invested in this, that this is going to come back. Like, we're going to learn more about this, and maybe these exact people, because we spent like time with them personally, not just seeing a rebellion, but like seeing these people, right? We also had all these flashbacks about Juliet's childhood, which I thought. I mean, I thought it was necessary to. I think when you have an episode that it's really only one character and they're not going to talk, that you need to fill it in with something. And so I thought the flashbacks were there partly for that, but the flashbacks also were very much about like Juliet being alone and isolated in her childhood, and now being alone and isolated in this silo. And I don't know if it was setting up that like she's really capable of being alone, that she at a time in her life preferred to be alone. Like, there definitely was that symbolism there, right? In these.
Oh yeah, definitely. The flashbacks definitely just juxtapose her current situation. I think it was also because partly to show, I mean, we know what a creative engineer she is, but to see this two scenes side by side, she fixed the little toy, and we see her trying to create a bridge. Second bridge worked much better than the first bridge.
Yeah.
Of course, the first bridge got its purpose. She made it across to make the permanent bridge, which that was cool as shit, by the way. When she took that door or whatever she used and put the barrels down and then weighted it down so that as it went over the edge, it would still stay upright. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was a practical. I wonder if somebody if there was a practical somebody on set was like, all right, this is how we're going to do it, but we need to make sure that it would actually work, and they made like a little scale model and tried it to see what it would do.
Yeah.
Practical engineering there.
What does that say? Doing Russ.
I don't know what that says.
I'm curious what it was because
What are you doing, Russell? I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, I just wondered.
Maybe. Yeah, those were really great scenes. With her like being, I mean, she is. It was established last season that she's a great engineer, but that really paid off with her building all this stuff to make her.
I actually have a very, 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 very important question, and it could just be my bad memory. When did she cut her hair?
I wondered that too. I couldn't remember. Maybe when she got, didn't she? I think it was short though when they carried her, or not carried her, forced her.
No, she had it in a ponytail.
Yeah, it's a very short. I rewatched all of season 1. It's in a short ponytail for the previous season. We just never saw it down before she went out to clean.
Okay, that's why. So I guess I just always assumed that it was longer than it was.
It was down like this in like some flashbacks with George. Her hair was down, but it's mostly in a ponytail in all season 1, but it's pretty short. And then in the last episode when they send her to clean,
that's how much I remember.
When she goes out to clean, it's kind of like that.
You know what it could be also? Since season 1 of Silo, I've seen like 3 or 4 things with Rebecca Ferguson, and she's got long hair in all of them. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you guys a question. Was she supposed to have on her suit, like she was afraid that there was poisonous stuff on it her?
Well,
okay. Trying to dump water, and then she's like ripping it, and I'm like thinking, why is she ripping it? And I thought she must think that it's
trying to get out of it.
But I mean, in fact, she was trying to rinse it off or whatever.
It's contaminated because she was outside.
Yeah, so it isn't just the air. She's afraid that it's still stuck to it.
Well, the air is like radioactive, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe radiation. It does definitely look like.
So it's not just breathing it in. Maybe
post-nuclear, maybe, right? The landscape is maybe post-nuclear war, and that would be a reason to go underground. Would be nuclear. I'm assuming maybe nuclear war. I don't think we're ever going to find out, but she's trying to wash off with whatever limited disgusting water she had.
She finally just gives up and rips it off.
No, it was kind of funny the way she's going around the silo and she thinks there's a person and she's a little nervous, and yet she makes so much noise building all of her contraptions all the time, right? That if anyone's in there, they obviously know she's there and like don't really, they're not trying to be quiet. Whatever that noise is that she keeps hearing, like no one's trying to be quiet, right? And so how did you guys feel about the end when she came to that door?
I wasn't surprised because I knew she was going to have to run into somebody eventually.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. I thought his line was great though. He's like, I get it. You see a door, you want to open it, fine. But if you try that again, I'll fucking kill you. Like, wait, what? that was really cool way to end it.
No, you would think though that he's clearly been down there a long time by himself, that he would want.
Well, we don't know anything about him.
No, but we're assuming it seems to be. I mean, how else could he? I mean, he had to either he survived down there for a long time, or he made his way down there like she did. Now, he couldn't have been there since the rebellion, clearly, but I don't know. I just got the opinion that he's been there alone for a long time. Like, you think he would want some company. I don't know.
Right. The rebellion was supposedly 140 years ago, right?
Yeah, so he's clearly not been there that long. But how did he get in there? I mean, he had to have, I don't know, traveled like she did, or like you said, maybe there's a tunnel under the thing.
maybe, I mean, maybe more than one, maybe some people survived the rebellion, but he's the last survivor after 140 years. He's the last one left.
He would have to be
he looks a little young to be 140 years old.
Yeah, he would have to be like one of those.
No, maybe he's like generations later. Like,
okay. That's what I thought you meant, but
yeah, maybe some people lived and they lived for a few generations, and now like he's it. Maybe they're living someplace else, and he was banished from.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know he's the only person. There could be 10 people in there with him. We don't know.
I mean, I know who this person is because I've read the books.
Yes.
But we don't know anything except he likes old music, and he says so. He's in the room with the keypad. That's the room where Common, I forget his name, Common's name in the show, where Judicial has all their cameras. That was a keypad door, right?
So it's like security office or whatever type of
it's
thing.
a different door that we never saw a door like that in the previous in the other silo. That door that Common uses to go into his like computer room has
so he could be watching everything she's doing then, probably,
if it's the same room. So Common didn't have this. This was a very round door, like a spaceshipy kind of looking door, right? It was a big round door with a handle. The judicial rooms that we saw in Silo 18 had secure doors, but normal looking doors.
Looked like a vault door.
Yeah, this looked like a bank vault.
Why are you saying it's that door just because it is a keypad?
Well, we didn't see doors like we saw routinely in season 1. Every time Juliet was trying to investigate someone, she had to get a key. And she has all these janitors with keys trying to open doors for her all the time. Like, they weren't keypad doors. Most of the doors in the, like, Common's door to that secret janitor closet was unusual that it was electronic.
Keypad, yeah.
Like, they were constantly getting keys for all the, like, I just rewatched the whole thing. They were using keys for almost every single door in the silo. So this door is I think goes into like a special part of the silo, which for some reason still has electricity after, like, where's the electricity coming from that it's going for 140 years, right? Like, I guess maybe the silos.
Well, she turned the power on when she came in.
He already had to have power. There's no way.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right.
He wasn't living down there without power, right?
Maybe he has a generator.
I mean, I guess I would think maybe all the silos are centrally powered off a massive like power system. Maybe.
Well, we know how the silos are. Well, at least we know how Silo 18 they kept feeding all that shit into it.
Oh yeah, and that crazy generator that Juliet had to fix all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, Jamie, I guess you were not surprised either. You figured there's got to be somebody down there. We can't have a whole show of her not talking to anyone.
Yeah, because there's got to be a way, I mean, unless she was going to turn around and go back where she came from, she has to meet somebody eventually.
I mean, yeah, she can't go back where she came from. And yet, I feel like eventually she wants to go back there, right? Like,
well, I hope that it isn't just all her and one person in flashbacks. That would be a boring season. I ain't watched that.
Oh, actually, something we didn't really talk. I loved the visual of her falling into the water and everything. I didn't think about it until I saw her splashing around. She doesn't know how to swim.
That's what I was going to say. She was scared of water, I remember.
She said something
of drowning, I guess. Not scared of water.
She made a remark in the first season when George takes her down there. She sees a lot of water and she's afraid. And she says, "Yeah, water is like," she says, like you sink and you die in water. Yeah, there's no reason why anybody in the silo would know how to swim, right? Yeah.
That's a good point. Why would you? I never thought about that. Why would they teach him how to swim?
Yeah.
There's no how could they teach him how to swim, right? They're not even supposed to go down there and know there's water down there.
Yeah. Only a handful of people even know about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's illegal, yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. What happens with this person who, I mean, I also think that you can't have a show where they're only communicate through this little piece of glass for the whole season. So eventually he has to come out, she has to go in, right? or they talk through the door for a while or something. Like there has to be some.
I can see I can see a thing where they like talk through the door for a while before he's finally like, all right, open the door, but you better not piss me off.
And hopefully that's only like half an episode, right? Because there's only 10. So hopefully that will move along a little quickly. I mean, I think there could be a lot of cool things that she could learn from this guy, maybe.
I mean, to even it out, I mean, it's not like we're never going to see Silo 18 again. We're not going to see the whole season from her perspective.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it would be exciting to see the aftermath of what happened. She's the first person ever to not clean, and she went over the hill, and like all hell must be breaking loose inside Silo 18, right?
Yeah.
Like,
plus, I want to see what happened. What happened after Tim Robbins' character said she knows,
and Common goes, knows what?
Yeah.
Like, tell me that Common doesn't know that the cleaning is a scam? Really? Like, he's going to be
he might not.
And he's like going to be the number 2 guy in the place and he clearly wants to take over Tim Robbins' job. He and his wife have a plan, right?
Yeah.
And for him to not know that is kind of surprising, but
I mean, maybe he does. Who knows?
Well, he was supposed to be going to tell him all the secrets, so he might not.
Well, they are very. Do you remember when like the picture came up on the screen? The picture of the trees came up on all those screens, and Tim Robbins goes, "Close your eyes, turn around."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What you've just seen, you must unsee. I mean, they can't unsee that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So it was pretty good. It was a pretty good. I mean, yeah, Jamie, a little.
Yeah, not a lot happened, but it was still good.
Off. Yeah. So, all right. So this is going to bring us
Dune Prophecy.
Jamie, did you get a chance to watch Dune?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you just say Dune Prophecy the end?
Yeah.
This was very slow.
Oh my God.
I say this, and you say this, AJ, as people who have watched those 2 movies. Jamie, did you watch the 2 Dune movies?
I watched the first one. I never watched the second one.
Because the first one was so slow?
Yeah, I mean, I liked the first one, but I didn't like it enough that I ever bothered to watch the second one. I mean, clearly I didn't love it, or I would have watched the second one. I had intended to. I just never got around to watching it. But
I don't blame you.
I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot of it. It didn't stick with me. Like, I remember pieces of it, but not enough that like I took it into this.
Well, that's fine.
Well, that's you don't really need to, because in this is 10,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides. So
10,000 years before Charlemagne, BC, before Charlemagne.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't want to say it was bad. I kind of enjoyed it, but it was really slow, and I didn't get a lot of what was going on. And it's one of those things that if you don't watch it really closely, you're like, what the hell just happened? And I found myself rewinding it a lot because I was having a hard time concentrating on it. And yeah.
Me too. And you absolutely have to watch this show with subtitles, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had subtitles on too, finally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was really slow. It was, I know sometimes first episodes of a new series can be slow because you have to like do a lot of exposition and setup, but like this is a prequel that takes place 10,000 years earlier, and they still had like a 116 years later moment, like in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. There wasn't that many, but yeah.
No, it was 116 years after like the war, but not. Yeah, and like there's a huge
it was 100. Yeah, it was like 116 years since the Smart Machine War, since Skynet, and
since Skynet.
And
what it was,
and
right?
but only like 40 years since like later after the death of Mother Superior, but 10,000 years before Paul Atreides is born.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's all this like prequely exposition of like the machines, tried to, the Skynet moment where the machines like tried to wipe out the humans and there's a big war, and it was a Harkonnen who whatever, all that, which
I love it. I love when she says the Harkonnens are asking for a seer again. Tell them no for the fourth time.
and she's a Harkonnen, yeah.
Yeah, well, she's pissed off because they basically told her to go fuck herself.
Yeah, but it was and a lot of that exposition was kind of unnecessary. Like that thing about the machines, I don't know. Anyway,
I think it was a lot of exposition in the first episode because we have no idea what's
And there were a lot of characters introduced, right? They have to introduce Emily Watson, who plays Valia, Sister Valia. And I guess that flashback's important to show us what kind of a person she is and how driven she is to, essentially the truth say they're not called the Bene Gesserit yet, right? They're just the soothsayers, the sisters of whatever. She basically wants to take over the universe. She wants to control the universe, right? By breeding, and by having the daughters of all the great houses come and become her acolytes, and then they'll be placed in the great houses, and she has like an in and a way to control like the empire, basically, right? Like she wants to be like the power behind the throne, kind of, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, she wants, basically she wants to, breed the leader, basically, She wants to pull the strings from behind.
I thought Emily Watson was pretty good. She's
everybody was very good in it. Mark Strong, I like Mark Strong, a lot.
I didn't like him as well in where I have a picture of him somewhere. I didn't, love him as much in this role, but it's only the first episode and it will maybe come around a little bit for me. I did like Olivia Williams a lot as Sister Tula, the sister. Yeah. She's fantastic, right?
Yeah,
and
like her.
And I feel like there's a lot of potential for her. She's like the submissive sister, but I feel like there's room for her to maybe so the emperor, and these are the emperor and empress basically, right? And it was interesting to see the emperor is portrayed as sort of like a really indecisive guy, right? And a little unsure of what to do. Like he seems to be easily controlled by the sisters. But not by his wife. He won't listen to his wife at all.
Well, yeah, because his wife isn't a seer. It's because the empire is having a problem, which is why they're having this marriage. Because he needs help on Arrakis for the spice trade.
Yeah.
So it's typical political bullshit. But the thing I like about him is you can tell he doesn't want to have to be doing this. It's like he's doing it out of necessity. He'd rather not marry his daughter off to a 9-year-old. But to her credit, I kind of like what she says to him. It's like she's like every year older he gets, I have more power, because she is the adult in the situation.
She says like
no, every year until he becomes of age, she can do what she wants. Is how I took it.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, meaning she doesn't actually have to be married for another 9 years.
Well, no, they're gonna be married now.
Right, but they're not like married. Like she can go to the school or whatever and doesn't have to stay with him because he's still a kid. That's how I took it.
They're gonna be married, but they're not going to consummate it. Right, she's going to be free. She's going to go to the Bene Gesserit school. It takes 9 years, I think, Bene Gesserit school, right? I think the sister school takes many years, and she's going there, and so my understanding is not every girl who goes there becomes a truth sayer. Some of them, like, they teach poise, they teach, it's like a little bit of like finishing school plus fighting plus maybe truth telling. But some of them will go on to become sisters, some of them will go on to go back to the houses but be part of their, she'll go home and be married to this guy, but she will have learned so much, right?
Yeah, she's like, until then.
No, she ain't marrying anybody now. He's fricasseed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, forgot about that.
He killed a kid. I was like, that kid was annoying, but you didn't have to torture the poor kid.
He was annoying. So Travis Fimmel shows up, right?
Yeah.
He survived being attacked by a sandworm. Well,
that's what it looks like.
There was also some kind of great battle on Arrakis that he survived, and then he got
when they stole the
and then he also got, they stole all the spice, and then he also got attacked by a sandworm, and he came back and he like basically can like Jedi like Darth Vader you to death, like he basically set the kid, burned him to death, right?
Yeah. No, did the sandworm give him the powers, or are we just supposed to not know that yet? Like,
I have no idea where he got.
Okay, because I know you guys remember more about the later
stuff.
So
in the movies, the sandworms are just giant worms, and they destroy the town and shit. Partly, they're like from Tremors, only like 1,000,000 times bigger, right? and they destroy stuff basically just because of what they are. They're not. Like we have no idea.
So I guess the whole point of this was he wanted that little lizard thingy because he needed the little AI or whatever. No, because see, that's why I thought he killed him so he could take it. I wasn't sure because
he killed him to stop. He killed him to stop the union of the Empire and
Princess Inez.
Well, the way he took it, I thought he was after it to keep it.
No, he
took it off the kid before he killed him. You know how it like disappeared from his hands. Like the kid looked like, where'd it go? That's why I assumed that there was a point to that.
He is anti-sisterhood, and he's against their breeding plan of matching like certain houses together to marry, and like their ultimate goal is to, so if you remember from the first movie Dune, like the Bene Gesserit, eventually their ultimate goal is they want to breed a super being. They think like through their centuries of breeding they can produce like a superhuman, and that in the first movie they're like, oh shit, we did it, it's Timothée Chalamet, it's Paul Atreides, right, AJ? That's the correct. And so this guy, like, so it took them 10,000 years to breed Paul Atreides in the movie. So this guy knows what they're doing, right? He's intervening to stop that. He wants them to not be able to match this couple and produce a baby.
Now, question. In this movie, the one thing I don't remember, was it only women that could say, or is it just because that's what we're seeing right here is that group of them?
Yeah, it's
only women.
Okay, because I don't know why, but I got the opinion that maybe, even more so now that what we're talking about, that I kind of wondered if he can see what's going to happen, and that's why I wondered if that was possible.
We don't know what his deal is right now.
Okay.
Well, in the first movie, and I guess the books, they're forbidden to train boys, but Paul Atreides' mother, Rebecca Ferguson, trains him, right? They're not allowed to train the boys as truth tellers and to use the you know how like in the first scene Olivia Williams like says stab yourself, cut your own neck or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's called the voice, which I thought they didn't develop until later, but like Timothée Chalamet has that in the movie. Men are not supposed to have that. It's illegal to train men. And his mother has illegally trained him. It's not illegal. It's against like the sisterhood rules.
But it's okay because he's the chosen one.
Yeah. But so for him to have this, like, I don't know what these powers are. We have no idea what this is.
Yeah, I don't know what
he's against these two getting married. But I think the princess, like, she's like, I'm up for it. But then there's also this guy, right? Like,
she's up for him too.
Yeah, and he's up for her.
Yeah.
I don't know if I thought so when they have sex when she goes to the club and they like do drugs and have sex, I immediately was like, oh, she's going to be pregnant and her husband's 9. But
That's a good point.
maybe she's going to be pregnant and have no husband, which I don't know if that's equally as bad. I mean, she was like, whatever, let's have sex. I'm going to become a nun tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Much.
So, but I feel like they kind of made a big deal about, like, I feel like we haven't seen the last of this guy. I feel like her obnoxious brother Constantine, we haven't seen the last of him. But I don't know. He could just be he could be red shirty and gone. We have seen
he's too obnoxious to go away.
Yeah, he'll probably stick around. We have seen the last of poor. I think her name is Kasha, the truth sayer.
Yeah, that I'm so confused by this. Like, what is her connection to the prince?
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
I don't know, because she's been like almost like a nanny to the princess. Like she's super close to the princess, right? But when the boy burns, she also burns and dies.
Yeah, and dies, so we can't even get any answers from her.
No, although maybe now Sister Valia might stop being like, oh, I know everything. Don't worry about your silly dream. It's nothing. And then she burns to death right before her very eyes. Yeah, I have no idea. It was so slow, and yet all of a sudden all this stuff happened that I was like, what the what? At the end, right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, stuff happened, and it was interesting, but it just took so fucking long.
Yeah, it was really very long.
Like it felt like 3 hours. It really did.
It was.
But to be fair, the two, each movie individually, feels like it's about 8 hours long.
And aren't the books each like 800 pages long? Like
the books are they're probably about that. Maybe the first one might be a little thinner, but maybe it's only like 700 or 600.
Yeah.
But yeah, the books are massive.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, as we expected, thank you HBO. It looks great. Like the costumes are great. These costumes.
Oh yeah.
There were I didn't download them from on the press site. There were multiple photos of like the architecture of the various spaces they're in, of the ships landing, and it all really looks
it looks really good.
It's like movie quality, right?
Well,
like,
we knew it was gonna look amazing. I mean, look at Game of Thrones. You know,
So,
HBO had when HBO wants to do something, they've got the money for it.
So more than one critic compared this to Game of Thrones in the sense that, you know, it's multiple royal houses or, you know, like aristocratic houses spread over like generations and across the universe. And like it's a big sweeping saga. So you can say that, but that's where the similarity to Game of Thrones ends, right? Like,
well, and it's aesthetically pleasing, and that's where it ends.
I mean, Game of Thrones did like, so they didn't kill a kid in the first episode, but Bran gets pushed out the window in the first episode, right? But that action just like took off. I felt a lot faster. Like, so I have no idea what might happen next week. Like, I can't even speculate what might happen in the next episode. I have no idea, right?
Is the prequels from books too, though, right? Not just the original.
No.
This is all original.
It adheres to some lore that might have been mentioned throughout the books. Like maybe someone in the book says, "Oh, 10,000 years ago, blah blah, that there was a war where machines tried to wipe us out." But it's all original.
Okay, that's cool.
That is kind of cool.
Did you guys like it though? Because a lot of people didn't like it. I didn't dislike it. I mean, like I said, it wasn't like my favorite show, but it wasn't bad.
So I will watch it again. So when I watched the first episode of Foundation, I really didn't like it. And I really like forced myself to slog through the beginning of Foundation because the critics all were saying it was awesome. And the book is like one of the most critically acclaimed science fiction books there is, right? Like, it's disgraceful that I haven't read it. Foundation is supposed to be like foundational science fiction for you to read. I really hated the beginning of Foundation, and I slogged through it. I don't know why. And then I ended up loving it. But I'm the person that always says to you guys, oh, why should I have to watch 5 episodes for it to be good? I'm not, right? I'll watch another one, or I might give it 3. I don't know if I can watch the whole season before I go back and judge it, or will I, because there's nothing else on. And it's easy to watch. Yeah, I liked it. It looks great. I'll watch it again. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It didn't grab me right away that I'm like, not like, oh, I can't wait till it's on again.
Right. Yeah, that's why I said I didn't dislike it, but
it's intriguing enough.
I didn't love it.
Yeah, it's intriguing enough. I'm gonna, and it's only 6 episodes, right?
Is it only 6?
6, maybe.
Yeah, so it's not a super huge commitment.
Yeah, and that's, I can commit to 6 episodes or whatever it is. And again, it looked great. The story is compelling enough that it could be good. It's the first episode.
Yeah, and there's only 6.
I mean, if nothing else, I want to know how that guy is firebending.
Well, yeah. How does he do that, and what's that all about? And I mean, a show that kills a kid in the first episode, like, maybe
can't be all bad. It must be. Yeah, it can be actually pretty good.
Can't be all bad.
I mean, we've had shows that we begged them to kill the children and they won't. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, they have a little nerve, right? But I have no clue what I could expect to happen next. I have no idea. I mean, I guess the princess will show up at school. There were a lot of photos. There's a lot of photos in the press site, like each of these young novices. I can't remember all their names, and they all seem to have like slightly different personalities. And I guess that might become more important. I need there to be more action with them for me to. I can barely tell them apart. There's the tall one, the short one, the blonde one. Right?
There's one that may or may not be a complete lie about her family. I remember that one, but that's
I think I'm gonna like
one that was an empath or whatever. They said like that she was empathetic.
I mean, it's obvious when like Emily Watson is like, oh, she's too wimpy, she'll never cut it.
Yeah,
she's obviously going to be the most powerful one of all, right?
Yeah, that's how it always is.
Yeah. But that might be interesting. I went to an all-girls school, so I can tell you it can be pretty cutthroat. And that might be kind of interesting to see. It's hard to see what the focus is going to be. I mean, I guess we're going to be split between the convent and the imperial court. We'll have to see. So, all right.
Right.
So that's it. Next week we'll be back to cover. I mean, we have like From special stuff going on next week. Reviews and everything, but the show, the normal Tuesday show, will cover From, of course, and then these 2 shows, Silo and Dune. I think it's all. Nothing new is back. That's all that's on, right?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Listen, that's all we need, because we're probably going to want to talk about From for almost 2 hours next week.
Probably, since it's the finale.
Yeah.
But I'll also be, after our interview on Sunday, doing the deep dive again. I don't know if you guys are going to stay after Jamie or what, but I hope you stay some at least. Maybe talk a little bit.
I stayed for a while the other night. It was a lot. I stayed 2 hours and then I had to go to bed.
Yeah, I was surprised you stayed that long. So
it was 2. I didn't. So that's a nice show, because you have a community of people who have been together. It seems like that gang has maybe been recapping and reviewing and watching together. Like,
yeah, they've been kind of doing the shows together, I think. Also.
Yeah. So. And so their theories and ideas have coalesced, and I felt like I don't necessarily agree with them. It was interesting to hear other theories that I don't ascribe to.
That's why I said you should come in and tell people what you think, because I think your theories are just as valid.
I thought they would shut me down.
No, I think they just all sort of seem to agree. And like I said, I know Julie was really excited because and again, I don't know that I think it's 100% either, but I mean, I happen to think what she says is probably right. But you know, she was just excited because she's been saying it for like months, and then it seems
reincarnation.
But I think we were talking too about confirmation bias, and I think it's kind of the same thing. Like if that's what you want to see, you might see that. So I try to see all sides. I don't mind hearing other opinions, but we get some other things in the chat too. But it's fun to kind of see what people think. I was saying I'd like to maybe after this do a special show on just like all the theories that are going around and why each theory works or doesn't work. Like not on a specific episode, but just talk about like all the possibilities. Because there's some people that have some, like we found out tonight, some weird theories.
Yes. If you can get the chemotherapy people on, I'm there.
Yeah, we'll have to find out where that came from.
All right. Anyway.
All right.
Oh, Jamie, I finished Hysteria.
Oh, you did? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was really good. I hope it gets a second season, but it's NBC, so who the hell knows?
Or Peacock, but yeah, I liked it.
Okay, Peacock, NBC, same shit.
No, I know. I'm just saying it was Peacock in case somebody's looking for it. You know, I'm looking on NBC, but yeah, I liked it. I thought it was interesting, and it was kind of cool because it's like you didn't know if it was real or not. I'm not sure where it could go, but I think.
Oh, I think it's pretty obvious where it can go, but that's besides the point. I don't want to say anything.
No, I mean, let me rephrase that. This season,
I know what
about is it real or not? Like it wouldn't have the same.
Well, we're still
really
having kind of have that question.
Yeah,
based on
kind of. I guess you do sort of, yeah. Anyway, I liked it. I gotta get.
It was pretty. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I tell you, the soundtrack. I really enjoyed the soundtrack for the show because they really, you know, there was some well-known songs, but there was also some kind of like underground songs that they were playing.
Yeah, and they were really playing too. So that was.
Oh, were they really playing? See, I was wondering about that. I didn't look into that.
I had.
I knew she was. I knew she was singing, but I didn't know if they were playing.
Yeah, they were playing. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, for anybody who did watch Hysteria, I have Bruce Campbell interview that's got to go up. I also have Interior Chinatown and more of Cross. I was not feeling good the other night, probably because I was up so late doing the live stream. But I got to get that from recap up too. I'm getting there. It's all going to go up. And then tomorrow I'm covering for anybody who's interested in it. I know some of the front people are interested in what it'll be. Earth Abides. I'm doing the junket for tomorrow. So those interviews will be forthcoming as well. I don't know. I don't want to say anything about it because I'm not sure when the embargo is. I'd have to read it. I don't know if we're going to cover it or not, but that's an interesting show that's coming out that's sci-fi-ish, you know, that maybe people want to see. But in the meantime, before our show Tuesday, like I said before, guys, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Sunday, after the live tweet of the finale, we'll be having on Jamie McGuire, who played Smiley. And then after that, we'll go into the deep dive with Julie B. Deep Dives and me. And hopefully you guys will hang around for a bit at least and take part. So yeah, so that's next. And then the 26th is Elizabeth Saunders. So, and then we'll find out about Avery and about John Griffin and Jeff Pinkner. I'll post about all that when I find out, you know, the dates. All right, guys.
Great. All right, cool, you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Good night, ladies. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
All right.
Stick a fork in it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.